So where do we go from here? I hold this Bible in my hand. And if you think about it, we kind of alluded to this a little bit in the glad section. But there's really only two places in this book where life works. There's a couple pages in the front where life works. And I actually read from one of them at the end in the glad section, but there's a couple pages at the back where life works. Okay, so I want you to look at this. A couple pages on the front, life works. A couple pages in the end that life works. But what's all this stuff in the middle? That's called struggle.
Struggle.
And what I love about the scripture is it doesn't hide the struggle. It actually illustrates for us what it looks like to struggle well and to struggle not so well. Yeah. And we see people digging cisterns that don't hold water. We see very predictable forms of survival. We see all kind of manifold ways of how we medicate and stay out of our need and try to live life on our own and not need God. And, there's nothing quite original about it. We tell girls all the time, we say, look, you're special but not unique. Like you didn't come up with an absolutely new, novel way to not need God or to not need somebody else. Like, let's just open it up here and we'll find ourselves in here. I love what I heard Tim Keller do in a podcast once. It was really right after the late Tim Keller. It was right after, around the time of COVID. He was instructing pastors about how to get through the crisis of COVID. And it was a global podcast, all these pastors from all over the world. And he said, I'm going to tell you, brothers, he goes, you're going to need to take your nose out of Romans and put it in the Psalms. Because if you're not practicing an emotional language, especially now, yourself and with the people that you're shepherding, you're not showing them how to get through this. Wow. And you won't, he said this, you won't make it. You won't make it. He said, and David gives you the language, which that's all we've done for the last several sessions. We're just talking about the language.
That's right.
So I say, it's how do we live well in here? And most of the time, we live well when we don't live alone in here.
Yeah, that's relational. So we said at the beginning, we'll say here at the end that these words we've been talking about, these 8 words, they are words of relationship, words of attachment, words of intimacy, words of being known. They're words that are consistent and congruent with how God made us, how we're wired. And so we all grow up in families that are full of humans, and humans make mistakes and humans mess up. And some families, the mess ups are really severe and acute. Other families are not so much, but all human beings, when you get human beings in the same room under the same roof, part of that's going to be trouble. And so we have a saying, we say that we are impaired through relationship and we are repaired in the same way. So our encouragement to you is wherever you go from here with this Bible study, with these feelings, with these teachings, wherever you go from here, you're made for community. You're made for attachment. There was a longitudinal study done years ago. Jeff, I know you're familiar with this. The research was to attempt to determine what is the most efficacious, most effective mode of therapy. And what they found was the mode of therapy, cognitive therapy, this therapy, that therapy, it didn't matter. What mattered was, did the person receiving the therapy have an attached relationship with the therapist? That's what made the difference. And so impaired through relationship, repaired through another. By the way, therapy just means healing. And so therapeutic conversations, thank the Lord, happen all over the world all the time. Sometimes in a therapist's office, sometimes in a pastor's office, often at coffee shops and living rooms and park benches and all kinds of different places where they happen. But conversations between two attached people are necessarily therapeutic, particularly when this language of truth is being spoken. So our encouragement is what you do and where you go. Of course, you're going to need alone and solitude time, and spend that time in community with other people, practicing telling the truth, practicing feeling these feelings with one another. I'm reminded, Jeff, of what Kurt Thompson, who is a prolific writer and a thinker in our times, and he says, points out that children don't draw pictures to put in a drawer. Children draw pictures to give to someone so they can be seen and so they can have conversations around what they've created. And so I love that picture. That's what I do with Jeff. That's what I do with other friends and other intimate friends that I have that I do this life with. And so make it a practice to draw pictures with these feelings, draw pictures with sentences, maybe draw pictures in your journal, but draw pictures and then share them. Share these verbal pictures and these stories that you have collected inside of you that we pick up every day with someone that cares about you and with whom you can be attached.
Intimate relationships are by definition healing.
Yeah.
Now, we're both trained theologians, licensed therapists, but the work that I do most of the time has nothing to do with being a therapist. I almost wish I wasn't sometimes. Okay, I think I have a license for it, but I'm not sure it really helps me that much. Okay, learning how to attach is what helps me. So when I'm sitting with one of my kids or a grandchild or Brenda, my wife, or a good friend, they don't want to sit with Jeff the therapist. They want to sit with Jeff that can be with them and attach to them and listen to them. And who, when I'm with them, can be present with them because I'm present with myself because I'm aware of what I'm feeling and I'm not having to fix their feelings. And so they can come to me. And those kind of relationships, that's what changes all of us.
Yes.
Okay. And I always say this even about God. Like this is the living word. Jesus was the Word made flesh. But objective knowledge about this isn't what changes me.
Yeah.
It's a relationship with Jesus who is the truth incarnate. Like it's the relationship with him that changes us. And we learn how to trust he's attached toward us, even with a hesed love the Old Testament describes, a love that's loyal, that won't shift, fade, or go away, regardless of where I go. So that's the part where I go, we would encourage you, and where do we go from here, is that anywhere you go, whatever it looks like, it will need to somehow move towards some kind of connected relationship where you can be known. Because if you're not in a relationship where you're known, you also won't trust that you're loved. Because there'll always be this little thing in the back of your mind that says, well, yeah, they love me, but if they only knew this. By the way, everybody doesn't need to know this, but somebody does. Because I need to experience a relationship where I'm seen and known, someone emotionally is looking for me, and I get to experience the love of God through them. So, we both believe that God significantly and in some ways primarily works through the vehicle of the local church. Like something happens there, as imperfect as that can be sometimes, something happens there that cannot be replicated, that God is working uniquely through local gatherings of people that are learning how to imperfectly love each other. Yes. So we would just say, man, if you're out there like a satellite or if you're not somehow connected in a local body of people, that's a great next step.
Yes.
Now, listen, Tin Man does offer things, we do, but even us, we started as a ministry. I was a church leader that didn't know where to go. And I had all the stuff I need to learn how to talk about and things I needed to open up about. And I was in a profession that it was sort of taught to me that if I tell anyone this truth about me, like, don't let the door hit you on the way out. So it created almost this isolation, then exacerbated any of the issues that were really going on in my life. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
So part of how Tin Man happened was when I went through my journey, I just started having leaders calling me saying, tell me your story. Like, you seem like a safe person for me to tell you mine. Mm-hmm. And then guys just started coming. And then it started growing. We didn't intend to create anything, but it just happened that way. So Tin Man uniquely exists to come alongside and serve the local church in this area of emotional maturity. Our spiritual maturity cannot exceed our emotional maturity. That those things are wed together. They're not separate. Unless I know how to do relationship with you, okay, we can't even live out this covenant relationship. And which, by the way, even my relationship with God. Mm-hmm. It's amazing how that all connects together.
Yeah.
So in terms of next steps, we're always going to encourage you to get plugged in to the local church. And there's things we offer to help in that, to help you as a next step. We do one-on-one coaching, which is to come alongside individuals, male or female, to help them to continue down the road of where you started, even doing this Bible study or even watching these videos. We do 4 to 5 day therapeutic intensives that are equivalent to about a year's worth of one-on-one work. We offer those, and they're significant. They're unbelievable deep dives of movement forward. We always say you can dig a deep hole with a teaspoon if you stay in the same spot long enough. And kind of what this Bible study was taking that teaspoon, you keep coming back, keep coming back, keep coming back. Our therapeutic intensives are like pulling up with a bulldozer and digging up to your knees And then you go back with your teaspoon and keep digging, but you got huge momentum into like movement on this. When I first started this, when I was 20 years ago, when this thing hit me and I was coming apart, and that's when I met Phil and I started like warming up and falling out on the inside. I remember staring at 8 words for a couple months and not being able to check in like we talked about how to do at the beginning of this. I would look at those 8 words and I had no idea what I was feeling. And I remember mercifully, one of the guys leading a small circle of guys that were doing this, he finally looked down to me and he just said, "Hey, Jeff, I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna help you with this." He said, "If in doubt," and he covered up all 7 feelings except for one. He said, "There's your feeling." And it was fear. He said, "Just start showing up with fear because you're terrified. And you know what? You'll start warming up." And I just remember that's all I had. That was after a couple months of trying to go, what's going on in me? So I want you to know, like, it can be a slow, banged up, hanky, jonky, janky journey. But man, I could tell you, I just stayed at it. And we've watched it happen to so many people. And we've watched churches literally inside out begin to transform when they added the language of relationship to all the relational work they were trying to do. So we do one-on-one coaching, we do the intensives, we do cohorts to train people in this. We're creating resources that we're making available on our website. It's all there, and we just would invite you to take advantage of anything that we're doing because it is a joy to serve you in this way in the body of Christ.
Yeah, I would echo that 1,000%. So that's what we exist for. We, like the 10 men in the story, we exist to help men and women find heart again who has lost it along the way. And Jeff, your story is powerful around that. I'm honored, grateful to get to have been a part of that from the beginning, so to speak. And so we really do hope that these videos, this information goes far, far deeper than just one more thing to learn, but that it gets deep inside of you, into your heart as well, and that we can serve you along as you join community and grow in intimacy with God, yourself, and other people.